All right, everyone is set and we are ready to take off. Good evening, media girls. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It's another time to learn, to grow, and to be inspired, and also to inspire others. All right. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I want to welcome the anchor for tonight, Ayokunu Akintayo. She's a media girl and she's so ready to take us on this journey. All right, take it away.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much for this platform, Mrs. Oludolapo Adewale. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, media girls. Good evening, everyone from wherever you're joining. My name is Ayokunu Akintayo, and I am a media girl, and I'm here to host for tonight. It's a great pleasure to host the delectable Madam Isabella. Is she here with us, ma'am? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hello, that's also Ibo. It's so good to have you here. Thank you so much. We can't wait to learn so much from you. Your journey has been so inspiring. I read a lot about you, and I'm so glad to finally have this session with you. I'm very sure media girls are all excited to welcome you here tonight. Media girls, are we excited? Can we have some activity in the chat room to welcome Madam Isabella? You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we begin the session proper tonight, we all know the topic we're talking about, the excellence compare. The excellence compare. I'd love to take us on the journey to read about our guest for tonight. She's got such an interesting profile. Madam Isabella Adediji, she's the founder and managing director of Yellow Tamarind Productions, a media, PR, and tech company based in Lagos, Nigeria. She is a graduate of education with English and drama from the University of Cambridge. Innovation for the school, please. She began her career in corporate communications at Nestle Nigeria PLC, where she was responsible for media relations and internal communications. Her passion for education led her to the classroom, where she taught English literature, sociology, and history. It was during this time that she created, presented, and produced our first television show, which is Africana Literacy. And now in its fourth season, the Afrocentric literary show has aired on several stations across Africa and a streaming platform in the United States of America. She has gone on to present other edutaining programs, not only entertaining now, edutaining programs on radio, television, such as the movie Bob Show on Africa Magic Showcase, Correct Students on City 105.1 FM, and Nolly Silver Screen on Views Channel. She also hosted the front stage on Radio Continental Politica with Isabella Akinsheye on Views Channel and Searchlight on Radio Now. She's a regular guest. She's a regular guest host on the popular live youth talk show, Rubbing Minds on Channels Television. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies now, media girls, let's welcome the intelligent MC Isabella, who has over a decade of experience anchoring conferences, festivals, awards, summits, product unveilings, book launches, hackathons, come on, film screenings, weddings, and parties. On weekends, you can catch her on stage as a traditional wedding compare with the stage name Alaga Sisi Bella, Alaga Oloyibo, or Alaga Tolo Cambridge. Media girls, I present to you the delectable yellow Alaga Sisi Bella. You're welcome. Let's have some activity in the chat room to welcome her. An
Thank you
ovation
so
for
much. Thank
the
you.
madam, please. You're welcome. You're welcome,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for agreeing to come bless us and show us the way. I know we all can't wait to hear you speak. So please take us on a journey. How did it begin? How did you get here? Can you please take us
Thank
on
you
the
so
journey? Tell us about
much. Thank you so much for that wonderful and lovely introduction. Sometimes you hear these things read about yourself and you're like, "Ah, am I the person they are introducing?" Really, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and well
yourself. Yeah.
done to you and to Ludolapo Adewale for the work you're doing at Media Girls in Nigeria, Media Girls Nigeria. Well done, well done. How did I start? I think I was at my auntie's house sometime in secondary school. Maybe I'd finished SS3 or it was one of those holidays. And I could hear a children's party happening in the background. And I was like, ah, this kids' party now, what are they even doing? They'll tell you children, pass the parcel, musical chairs, pause like a statue, all those children games at parties. And I was just thinking to myself, I was a teenager then, that I can do this. I can do it. Is it
Wow.
not to engage the children, let them play games and announce the winner, hand over the prizes? So it sparked something in me. And I just thought to myself, one day I'm going to do this. And then fast forward some years later in the United Kingdom, my uncle ran an events company and he still does till now. And I expressed my interest that, oh, I would love to host a kids' party. So in the UK, people don't have as much help as we do in Nigeria. So sometimes, even when they are going for weddings, they will carry their children with them. In Nigeria, sometimes you can leave your children at home, or even if you take your children, you go with maybe a nanny that can help you watch over your children. So you're still able to enjoy yourself. But in the UK, what some planners do is they provide a service where bring your children, we will create a separate room or give you a space, and we'll bring someone that can engage them during that period. So this was almost 20 years ago. I can't remember the
Wow.
exact year, but I was still very young. I hadn't yet gone to university. So in between A levels and going to university. And I told my uncle, and he said, okay. And lo and behold, a wedding came and they gave me the space. I had my gifts, and I said, I will do the games, all the musical chairs, pass the parcel, dancing competition, those kind of games. And once I did that, I was like, ah, this thing, I can do it. So I would say that was the beginning of me becoming an MC. But in terms of professional or corporate, because that's social, and sometimes people make that distinction between, oh, I'm a corporate MC, I'm a social MC, or I do
Okay.
weddings and birthdays. I would say that one of my earliest events, apart from school events where maybe you have variety night, you're a border, and you're emceeing that event, and you say, oh, ladies and gentlemen, or in my case, we're all girls during variety night, social night, and you're bringing up the different acts. But I'll say my first corporate MC that I can recollect was sometime in December 2008. Yes, December 2008.
Wow.
I had finished my first year of university and I was on a gap year because I had some issues with my student visa. So I got into university 2007 all the way to 2008, my first year. I came back to Nigeria. I was refused the visa. So I ended up getting an internship at a publishing firm, Kachifo Limited. And they are the publishers of Farafina books. So at that time, we had different authors, including Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. But there was an author that we had just signed on, a new author, Dr. Ehosa Imaswen. And we were doing a book reading for him. And it was in a restaurant in Lagos. And then I volunteered myself that, oh, I can handle it, I can anchor it. It's not to call the person up. I will ask him some questions. He'll read excerpts from his book. I'll take the microphone to anybody that has questions in the audience and I'll engage. So I did that. And after I did that, I must have made such an impression at that small quote and unquote book reading that was
Okay.
organized by the publishing firm I was interning at, that some people from Rhythm FM came to me and they did such a good job. We think we want to talk to you. So in my mind, I thought, okay, they like what I'm doing. They want me to be on radio, Rhythm FM. So I was really excited. Lo and behold, I went to their studios and they were like, no, it's not. We're not thinking radio. We're thinking you should do TV. And I was like, TV? I've always wanted to do TV. I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? They said, oh, see how you were so conversant with the books. How about you have a review segment every week? You read a book and you speak about it. So remember, this happened December 2008. By January 2009, I'd gone to Silverbird Television, the
Wow.
flagship breakfast show today on STV, and they offered me my book review segment. And I remember that I was trying so hard, like, oh, this book is this, is that. And I was forgetting my lines. I was stiff. I wasn't sure. And the director just said, just wait, let me play something for you. And he played a clip of Books with Milia, which was hosted by Emilia, who is late now. She was one of the co-founders of Red Strat, Emilia Asimita, and she also set up her own agency before she passed on. And I just saw how natural she was. It was almost like she was just gisting about the book, and it was called Books with Milia. And right there and then, I came up with the name Bookaholic with Bella. And I was almost like giving that opportunity to just be myself, and I got it in one take. And then
Wow.
that was how I started the book review segment called Bookaholic with Bella, which
Wow.
grew into a blog. It lasted for about a year. I had to go back to school. But also during that period, that was 2009. No, I'm still doing my internship at the publishing firm. Now I have a book review segment. I've hosted a book reading. Again, someone just reached out. I think we had an author from Cassava Republic, Tony Khan, Knights of the Creaking Bed, and one of our authors, Sefi Atta. I think the book was Swallow, and they were doing a session and
Wow.
they wanted me to moderate the panel. And that was how I read the books, came up with questions, engaged them, engaged the audience. So you can see that I'm sharing all of this because you never know who is watching you. You never know what opportunities can come from a particular thing. I went to a publishing firm to do an internship, but from there, I got a book review segment on national TV. From there, I started hosting events for the company, and I'll say that the rest they say is history.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So let's say you started now as a volunteer. At one point, I'm definitely taking home. So it's very important for us to volunteer our skills, even if that's not what brought us to that place where we got the opportunity to volunteer. So you volunteer what you're passionate about, and then that's how your career actually started. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Media girls, I hope we are all penning down facts. I hope we are all getting down our nuggets and writing down our questions. Madam Isabella would be kind enough to answer all of our questions. I'm very curious again, ma'am. Now, navigating that from the start as an intern while you were in Nigeria and then to the UK, would you say you ever had some low in your career since you started? What about the highs, the lows, any challenges, any rejection? I'd love to.
Definitely, definitely. There, with everything in life, there are highs and there are lows. Even when you love something, it's your passion. You can get tired, you can get disappointed, you can get weary when you're just doing things and you're not getting the rewards. So a lot of people think, oh, working in the media is so glamorous,
Fun.
high paying, you make lots of money, you become famous overnight, and the
Make
world
connections
opens up to
easily.
you. Yes. So while I
Yes.
started Bookaholic with Bella, I had an email address that I created, which I still have till today. And people will email me all sorts of things, from review my book to will you marry me to how are you doing? Are your glasses recommended or recommended? So we used to get all sorts of comments. And
Yeah.
yeah, I did this for 1 year, meaning that the first time I recorded just one episode, but after a while, I was able to record maybe 4 episodes per month. So I'll go to the studio, I'd record. Then eventually we moved to the Silverbird bookstore and I was recording from there. And I was able to do that for
Oh,
one
wow.
year. And apart from the books I got, some of them were free. My producer, Victoria Pepple, she is a makeup artist. So she would do my makeup for me. At a point, one of
Wow.
my director was, I just saw him recently at an event now, Patrick Doyle. Yes, Uncle Patrick Doyle. At that point,
Wow.
Auntie Riti Doyle was on the breakfast show, she was hosting it. So I was doing all of this. I was on TV for a year and I never got paid anything. So, yes, at that point, I'm a young person, student, taking a gap year. I had a little bit of money I was making from my editorial internship. I went on to start writing for newspapers like Next, publications like True Love Magazine, True Love West Africa, Flair West Africa,
Wow.
what's the other one? TW. So I had money
That's a
coming in
whole
from
lot.
other ways, from other sources,
Okay.
but I wasn't making money from the TV, the TV segment I was presenting. Also, around that period, I took part in a radio competition. It was the first edition of Inspiration FM Radio Superstar, and I made it to the top four. So I'd come in sometimes to co-present with Dan Foster or Oscar, and I started coming up with my
Wow.
show. It never saw the light of day, despite all the time I spent working on it, going to the studio, sometimes overnight, recording. It was a lot of
Wow.
work, and again, no money, no monetary
It's coming
compensation
from it.
came from it. So that can be a low, especially when you don't have other things coming in, or you feel like, oh, I'm putting in so much work, I deserve to be compensated. So I'll say earlier on in my career, I was doing it for passion. I was doing it for the love I had for speaking, for engaging, presenting, for the media. So it didn't matter as much. But the more I've put into my craft by attending trainings, by investing in myself, buying books, going for events, observing other experienced MCs,
Yeah.
presenters. It's a lot of sacrifice, it's a lot of work, and the money did not immediately come. And you will still find
Mm.
people now, despite years and years of experience, almost 20 years, that they will say something like, "Ah, is it not just to take the microphone and say one or two words and engage the audience, and before you know it, the event is over?" Or they just say, oh, the event is only 1 hour, the event is only 2 hours, it's only 30 minutes. It's not so much work. You're not really doing so much. But what they forget is that you are spending time in meetings,
Yeah.
you are doing your research. Sometimes you might have to spend money on your costume, your wardrobe, your styling, your makeup, hair,
Just painting
nails,
your hair.
everything. Then your logistics, getting to the venue and back. Then the time that you spend at the event, the time you spend before the event, all your, I've not even spoken about
Preparing.
your experience, your what you bring, the
Mm.
fact that their event is not the first event that you're using to learn work. You've used other events, you've perfected your craft, you've gotten better, and you have invested. Now
Mm.
you want to put value on it. You want to say, this is how much I want to charge, and someone will just see it as, well, you can do it for free. I think that can be very disappointing and very discouraging, where people don't see the value of the work and just reduce it to picking up the microphone and talking, when there's
Mm.
so much. And even if it's a 1 hour event, a 1 hour event can be very packed. And if you, I mean, think
Yes.
about a 1 hour event and the president is there, or a former president is there, or you have
Yeah.
international leaders there. That 1 hour is there's so much that is riding on you to set the
The
tone for the
pressure.
event, the pressure, how you're able to manage it. Things go wrong, and right there and then on your feet, you have to make some decisions that you don't always have the luxury of speaking to the planner or the client because they are running around. And at that point, it's your expertise, it's your experience, it's your judgment call that saves or mars the day. So when people don't value that, or like we say in local parlance, want to price your market like tomato and pepper. I'm like, why? Like, no. And it's a double-edged sword because at some point you want to get experience, you want to have your network, you want people to know this is what I can do, whether that's a planner, that's a client, that's your boss, that's your pastor, your imam, whoever it is in your circle, or someone on social media. And so people say, oh, please come and do this for me, and before you know it, you're spending so much time, you're giving back, and you're not getting the remuneration you deserve. So that has been a low. And I know that I speak on behalf of many other MCs because what they portray out there is not always the reality. People sometimes charge a premium, but because of relationships, they might do it for free, but they might not tell you that. Because of
That
relationships
was
or because
free.
of their network, or maybe they want to position themselves or develop maybe expertise in a particular skill set or for a particular event type, they do it at a
Yeah.
giveaway price. But then you are out there thinking, this person is
Yeah.
cashing out. It's not always like that. And I think it's the same thing with TV presenting, radio presenting, things in the media. It looks glamorous, a lot of work goes into
On the
it,
outside.
but it's
Yeah.
not always well paid. That's just the reality of it. But I think over time, if you're able to build your brand, you're able to
Mm.
position yourself properly, and you're able to say no to some jobs, then it makes it easier to get the bigger jobs, because sometimes you might just feel like, I don't want to chase the job away. I don't want to chase it away. And at the end of the day, you're agreeing for what you know deep down.
It's
You have,
within.
yes,
Mm.
yeah, above that. So those things can be very discouraging. It's also when a client doesn't value the level of preparation that goes into the work, or a client doesn't provide you with enough information, and then on the day
Mm.
you're stranded. So you've asked all these
Yeah. Too many
questions.
changes.
Yes, you've asked all these questions before, and they're like, don't worry, we'll get back to you. And then on the day, they don't get back to you. And to the audience, it's like, oh, this person did not prepare. This person is a rookie. This person does not know what they are doing. But really, you prepared, you asked all the questions, but the organizer, the planner, the client did not give you the information you
Yeah.
needed. And then right there on stage, they're coming to do, no, do it like this or do it like that.
Mm.
And it's messing with your flow. So that can be very disappointing when you have people that don't also understand all that it takes to deliver a good job.
Mm. Wow. That's a lot. It's a whole lot coming from someone who has had over a decade experience in the field. So I got that you have to volunteer, but also don't over volunteer. That we should understand when we've outgrown certain things and certain rooms, and we should continue to build our network, which is like investing in relationships, and those things will help us rise to build a reputable brand. Thank you so much for bringing it out raw. Thank you for not coloring it here for us. I'm sure the media girls are learning a lot as much as I am learning. Media girls, please drop your questions on the Zoom chat room and also on YouTube. Madam Isabella will be kind enough to answer all of our questions here on. Thank you so much once again. So I'd like to ask, over the years, how would you say evolving with trends, with Gen Z's time? Well, I'm sure you're a millennial. So yeah, now it's like it's Gen Z's time, and a lot of things has changed. There have been trends emerging and all. How would you say you navigate and you keep you keep up your track, you keep up your track, you keep meeting up with the evolving standards of the media profession, ma'am?
That's a very good question. You need to keep abreast of what's happening in the media. When I
Yeah,
started almost 20 years ago, 2008, publishing 2009, I was I was on TV, I was also on live radio. Even as far back as 2006, 2008, when I started emceeing children's events in the United Kingdom, social media was not big then. I mean, we had
yeah,
Facebook and probably Twitter. We had blogs. Blogs were big. We didn't have
yeah.
TikTok. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have
We didn't have
a lot of
Snapchat.
the popular social media platforms. They
Yeah,
were not just there. Also, people still sent a lot of emails. We didn't have WhatsApp, for example. So the
yeah,
most that you'd say maybe you're trying to position yourself at that time, maybe BB Messenger, your profile DP. Yeah, that was like how people started, designing things for themselves, putting it out there. But I'd say that if I had the mindset of the mid 2000s to the late 2000s, and I just thought that it all started and ended with radio, television, newspaper, magazines, and blogs, I won't be where I am today because the media
mm,
has evolved. The
yeah,
audience, the audiences are now in different places. So,
mm,
how do I appeal to a TikToker or a Gen Z TikToker? How do I still appeal to a baby boomer Facebooker or a millennial Snapchatter, if there's anything like that? There's
there
that
is.
level of there's that level of research that is needed on your part as a media girl or a media guy, as the case may be, media
Yeah,
person, that you need to
yes,
study, you need to research, you need to pay attention to what the trends are. You need to see where the media is evolving to. So before we're very big on talk shows. We still have talk shows, but we know now that
yeah, like it's now
podcasts are the
podcast.
rage, right?
Yeah,
Podcasts are the rage. Now you have people that before the big thing was to go on YouTube, or sorry, to go to the cinema with your movies. Now it went to streaming and it has come back to YouTube, right? So I think
yeah, yes,
paying
ma'am.
attention to where your audience is and how they are engaging with content will make you one
Mm,
easy to discover, because what's the point if you have all this talent, all this experience, the expertise, the awards, and nobody knows you? And even the few that know you go a step further to vouch for you. But the people that have the decision making power in their hands don't have that one on one experience with you. What would they do? And I'm posing that question to you.
yay. Wow. Media girls, what would you do? Do you want to take that question again, ma'am?
I'm saying that you have all the skills, you have all the talent, you have the awards, you have the experience, and nobody knows you. The few people that know you are recommending you to, let's say, a client, but that client doesn't have that one on one experience with you, that one on one interaction. What do you think that person will do before making their decision?
Yeah, I feel like media girls, let's all get our rest. I would love to hear from us. While from my own perspective, I would say what I would do in that situation would be to show maybe like an evidence of what I have done, because it is now media age and we usually have our events, everything we do filmed. So if I have evidence, I believe the person would be convinced to work with me, and also based on the recommendation of the people this person trusts.
I love that answer because it speaks to the intentionality of documentation, documenting your work. So maybe
Hmm.
in at the time I started, the word of mouth from my uncle was enough to get me that job. The time I started, the word of mouth or me just volunteering in the organization was enough for them to give me that chance. But now, where we have so many social media platforms, one of the first things they will do is to either Google your name or check you out on social media. They want to read up about you on LinkedIn. They want to see your Instagram. They want to see how you are featured in the media. So you can do a Google search and you just click on news to see, okay, these are all the places where this person has been featured. Does this person have any digital footprint? Does this person have any media mileage? So you know that now, if you don't have documentation of your work, you don't have your work is not documented, you don't have evidence, whether it's reels, it's testimonials, written, recorded or video, audio form, whether it's actual videography from the event, whether it's a profile where you've captured stills of you in action, it will be very hard because the other people that you're up against have all these things. And when you don't have it, it begs the question, why? And some people
Why?
will not ask you why. They will assume that the reason why you don't have all of this is because you just don't have the experience. Because if you did have the experience, if you did have all these things you claimed, how come it's not out there? How come I can't see it? How come people are not sharing it? How come you don't have any form of currency in the digital space? So, in as much as we focus on our craft. We get better by attending trainings, webinars like this, and we read books, we join mentorship programs, we observe others. It's important that we invest in our personal brand. It's important that we invest in as little as someone sent me a message yesterday. Oh, a client asked for my rates. And I said, send them your rate card. You can't say you want to do this professionally and you don't have a rate card.
A rate card?
Because what if you are just one of five people that they've reached out to, and all four people have sent their rate card, but you haven't? It could be your profile. Okay, please, I'd like to see your profile. Some people will say, I would like to see jobs. I'm an alaga, I'm a corporate host, I'm a social host. So the whole gamut. I've had clients that will say, okay, I've seen your page, but I want to see you in action. I want to see your video. Or a planner will say, oh, I've recommended you to a client. I've sent them your profile. And mind you, my profile has stills of me at work. It has testimonials. It has my bio. It
Wow.
has evidence of speaking engagement, radio, TV. It
You
has
need
a
to see
lot.
that bio. I'm buttoning now. You need to see that bio. It's so beautiful.
Wow. Eunice, and I love it. It's
Thank
well
you so
detailed.
much. But in as much as I had a bio, 16 pages, nicely designed, the
Yeah.
planner still said that the client needed to see me in action. So, meaning my profile, as beautiful as it was, as rich as it
Was not enough.
was not enough.
Wow.
I then sent a show reel. Now, I sent a show reel and I also sent individual videos. But I sent the show reel first, and the planner said this was okay because the show reel had a collage of different events. So if you want to see me as this corporate person, you want to see me as a moderator,
Wow.
you want to see me as this person that can handle your awards, your more glamorous events, I had that in a real form.
You,
So
you,
that's without them sending multiple links, they were able to
Wow.
see what I was bringing to the
See
table. But
everything
that
you
costs
wanted to
money.
see.
It costs money to take good
Hmm.
pictures. It costs money to have a content creator, videographer, photographer cover your events.
Yeah.
It costs money to have a graphic designer put together your profile. It costs money to take professional pictures. It costs money to
Yeah.
get an editor to put everything together. There are some things you can do on your own. And if that's what you can do, start with doing it on your own. But as you are growing, keep some money aside and invest in it as a business. See it as a business
Hmm.
and put in the necessary things in place so that when
Yeah.
your profile is placed next to the next person's profile, you have a fighting chance. But if your profile is not even good enough, there will be that assumption that, oh, this person is not good enough. I used to have a profile that was 4 pages, and I thought, oh, I'm being succinct and all. And then I saw that, look,
Oh wow.
4 pages doesn't give me enough room to sell myself, to show my experience. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And I want to tell everyone here that sometimes you might need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself some very hard questions. Am I
Hmm.
showing up as I should? Go to other people's profiles that you like. Go and check them out on social media. Reach out to them. Some might be willing to even share their profile with you. If you have friends that are
Wow.
planners, you can speak to a planner and say, oh, I don't know, how many pages should it be? Would you mind giving me some guidance or something like that? Try and get that information. If you do certain programs, they might provide templates for you. But it's important that you have a fighting chance. So if you don't already have a reel that puts all your work together, please go and get a reel. No matter how, even if it's only 2 or 3 jobs you've done, put it together in one reel. If you don't have professional pictures, please, I'm not saying use AI and I'm not saying you should use your phone. Invest in a photography session. People do
Branding.
that for their, they do it for their birthdays. They do it
Yeah.
for birthdays. Why can't you do it for your own personal brand? Invest in that.
Hmm.
If you have enough money, invest in a website. That is the next thing on my project or my to-do list, to do a website.
Oh
And
wow.
it's so funny because the person I had contacted to do the website had started having conversations, then they died down. And I hosted an event yesterday, and the person was like, oh, do you know who I am? And I was looking, I was like, oh, we started talking about doing your website. And I was like, you know what? This is
Website.
a sign. I need to get and do that website. So you can see
Wow.
that even me on my journey, that I have to see, okay, what is the next thing? I
You
have a
keep
profile,
stepping
I
up.
have a reel, but now the next thing is
Hmm.
a website. The next thing
Website.
probably is when you are at that stage, you can get a manager that you can outsource things to, or you get an EA, an
Wow.
executive assistant. So there are steps to it, but it's important that you invest in your brand. I want to
In your
take a
brand.
question from YouTube. How do I get corporate gigs as an MC? Do I
Gigs.
need to
Yes, I was going
volunteer
to read
as
that.
well?
Yes.
So getting gigs from getting corporate gigs is not is going back to what I've just said. Uh, you want to get corporate gigs. Do you work in an office? If you work in an office, have you spoken to the people in the office, the management, the heads of department? Please,
Hmm.
when next we are doing retreats, we're doing training session, when next we are doing an event, I would like the opportunity to host. I was working at Nestle Nigeria PLC, but I also hosted their events when we had staff competition or when we had an event for external stakeholders. And I was already doing media relations. So I was already there to cover the event. And they just said, oh, why don't you host this evening event, the gala? And I thought, yeah, I could do that. And I did it. So if you're already in a corporate environment, start from home. Charity begins at home. Start from your department.
Yeah.
Start
Start
from the
from where you
internal
are.
company events. Then, if
Yes,
there's some
ma'am.
you do well internally, when they now have external events, they're like, "Oh, we like the way you moderated that IG live session. You did a really good
Oh,
job.
wow.
Now I feel more comfortable." Maybe the company wants to save money, or they might not even fully trust you, but they just think that, you know what, we'll pair you with a professional, and that way you are still able to represent the company, speak on behalf of the company because you have more knowledge than perhaps the MC that's coming. And before you know it, you started building that experience. Now, if you're not in that
Mm.
corporate environment and you can't start, I would say put together a profile, put together a rate card, reach out to planners, put together a reel of your work. Nobody's going to give you a corporate event to host if you don't have some experience. Nobody's going to take that chance. Maybe within the company they can take the chance, but when it's external, media is involved, nobody might want to take that chance, except it's your own company or your parents' company and you have strong leg there. If not, you need to get that experience. And how do you get that experience? If you have a mentor that you can go out with to observe, if there are training programs that you can sign up for, some of them might come with internships, or they can recommend you. So you're in a pool where you've been trained, and when jobs come, they can say, "Oh, this person, I can vouch for them because they've done this training." And there's some trainings you do that at the end of the trainings, they can even help you put together a profile, put together a show reel, and that way you are able to put together something that will appeal to the decision maker. I'll also say that you need to read widely, because corporate events, you don't have as much, I would say, flexibility like you do with some social events. So if it's a corporate event, you need to read on the subject matter. You need to be conversant with some of the norms, the laws, the traditions, the expectations, the lingo. Imagine you're hosting a corporate event for lawyers. How do lawyers speak? What is lawyer speak? My learned colleague, the silk gown, men of letters. There are certain things that they say that is common to the law community. So you have to spend time researching. You also have to read generally and widely, because you need to have a good vocabulary that you can pull from. So you're not just saying the same old words. Now, I'm not saying that you should do a biagnol, that you use big English to confuse people. No, I'm not saying you should become Professor Wole Shoyinka, but it's good to have a repertoire of different words in your vocabulary that you can pull from. Then there's also the place of restraint. Social events, maybe it's a wedding, alaga, you can dance, you can shake your body, you can crack jokes, you can stretch things, you can engage the audience. But there are some corporate events that all those things will not be allowed. So, if you are someone that can't hold themselves back and you want to show yourself at every event, then corporate events might not be right for you until you're able to learn to hold back. Because in as much as you want to show yourself as a good compere, as a good master of ceremonies, if the job requires you to say less, then you say less. And not think that if I don't talk as much, people will think that I'm not doing my job. People will think that I don't know what to do. People will think that I'm boring. No. What was the expectation of the client? And corporate events also is not about you. It's about the client, it's about the organization, it's about the cause. So there are some social events that the MC makes it about themselves. They make it about, oh, when I did this, when I did that. They throw in their own personal anecdotes. They throw in their own experience. they show their true self, they take on different personas. But in a corporate event, you might not have the opportunity for all of that. So being able to restrain yourself is such an important skill to have and to develop, so that in trying to impress, you don't end up distracting and constituting a nuisance. So very, very important. And I'll say, look at other corporate MCs. See what they are doing. You have to be very observant. You might have 10 corporate MCs and you go and watch their videos. There are certain things you'll be able to pick out. You can look at how they introduce, you can look at how they make announcements, you can look at how they engage the audience, you can look at how they manage time. And sometimes it's also about going for corporate events when you can, because there you can observe, right, like right there and then you can make some observations that you cannot just see from an edited 3 minute clip or 90 seconds clip. You can see, oh, this thing the MC said, it didn't land very well. Maybe when the MC is posting the video, they will edit that part out. But you that you are
Yes,
there, you will know that it worked or it didn't work.
yes. Thank you so much for the response, ma'am. Please, we need to answer much more other questions, so we need to fix the time. Thank you so much. So here is another question from Ruth from YouTube. She asked, please, what are the main qualities a budding MC, a budding compare should have in the journey of being a professional compare? What are the main
This,
qualities?
I'll say this question builds up on the answer that I gave. So you have to be a reader, you have to read widely. And I say this because you might have prepared for an event and then things go wrong. Somebody doesn't show up, it doesn't start on time, and all of a sudden they need you to do something. So, if you're not well read up on the topic, it becomes hard to engage because all you've practiced is good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is, I welcome you to. Now, all of a sudden, 30 minutes is free and you have to engage the audience. If you have taken your time to read on the subject matter, you have taken your time to read up on the kind of people that will be in the audience, the kind of subjects that will be discussed, you can come up with an activity to engage the audience right there and then. So, reading is non negotiable. Watching others, whether it's their curated videos, whether it's going to watch a live stream of an event, you watch it from the beginning to the end, not the edited parts. You watch everything and you are taking down notes. How did this person engage the audience? You write it down. How did this person introduce the speakers? You write it down. How did this person moderate this panel discussion? You make your observations. What worked? What didn't work? What could have been done better? What can be replicated? You observe all these things. So you have to be very observant. Observant at events you attend. You also watch videos and then you invest in training. I can't say this too many, I can't say it enough. Invest in your self development, invest in capacity building, whether it's paying for a course, whether it's attending a free training on public speaking, writing, diction. Thank God the MC Dolly P is here, because as a compare, you are expected to pronounce your words, to enunciate properly. So maybe you know you are struggling to pronounce certain words. Sign up for a diction training. You can also read books. There are many books that are out there that you can read. Read books that have been written by broadcasters. Read books about the industry. And then read magazine articles online articles, posts, LinkedIn posts, Medium posts. You have to have that desire and thirst for more knowledge on this industry that even me, I ask myself, what am I going to do? Sometimes it is saying, okay, my master class, I'm going to go and watch something. Sometimes it is, I'm going to watch a particular broadcaster show. I'm going to see how they engage, or I'll attend this event and I'll take down my notes. And then you also have to invest in your personal brand.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. So speaking of events, that leads me to the question that came from Priska Adeyemona. I was also at the Comms and Mentorship Conference yesterday, and I must say you ate it all. So she's saying yesterday's event was two in one, a book launch and also a conference. So now it's two in one event. So now she's asking you, you should help tell us some ways, different ways or techniques to easily transition. Like you had an icebreaker, which wasn't planned initially, but the icebreaker was to dance. You got people to volunteer to do the, I have decided. So yeah, what are the different ways to transition easily for that kind of event that was two in one? That's a question from Priska. And then I would ask the second question together from Coach Patient. She's asking what should be the major content of my rate card as a professional media personnel or compare.
Okay, good question. So I'd say that one very important thing on the job. Now, a lot of what I've been discussing or I've been sharing has been what to do before you get on that stage. Observe, train, ask questions, read up, great. But you see, when you get on that stage, one of the biggest assets or the biggest things that can work for you is your ability to read the room. Again, it speaks
Mm,
to being observant. If you are very observant as an audience member, you see what works and what doesn't work. And you will know what cues to watch out for. So if you're on that stage, you're picking up the microphone, you're talking, and then you can see people are tired, they're slouching, maybe they've not eaten, maybe it's hot, maybe things are dragging, people just want to stretch, they haven't had the opportunity to maybe use the bathroom. You can, with a little bit of time, inject an icebreaker. And the icebreaker worked because there were two separate events in one. One was serious conference, and the other was book launch. So, what could tie both of them? Earlier on, for those who came earlier, I'd done a networking kind of icebreaker. What's your name? What do you do? What are your expectations? And I did that because I wanted people who were in the room, some of the speakers, to hear what the expectations were from the audience. But at the same time, I wanted people in the room to hear what others were doing. So if you were the graphic designer that designed all the posters and all the materials, and you said, look, my name is this, I did this. Someone in there might be looking for a graphic designer and is thinking, oh, I need to go and design my rate card. Where will I find graphic designer? Oh, but I like what this person did. Let me go and walk up to this person. There's that personal touch that cannot be replicated with an email or just a DM. Someone walks up to you, oh, I really like what you did. Da, 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 da. Is this something you'd be willing to, you might be able to even get a discount. So the first icebreaker I used at the beginning was very intentional to get people speaking. The second icebreaker that wasn't part of the program was because I just realized that there hasn't been any break. People have just been sitting down, listening, and not really being able to fully engage because it was just the moderators that are asking the questions, and then towards the end they will take questions that have been written down and read it, unlike when you stand up and you're giving the microphone and you talk. It's very different from you just type a question and someone reads it. So I just thought, what can we do to get people to move and stretch? Music, dance. Besides, the next thing we're about to do was a book launch, and it was a very personal book launch about someone's faith. So there was no issue of I'm going to play a Christian song, it's going to offend anybody. No, the book launch is about someone's Christian journey. So by being there, you already know that one way or the other, she's going to talk about her God. So church music is going to play. So I knew that I could take that liberty. And it also makes for good content when you look at it. Not everybody just sitting down, sitting down. Sometimes, dance. I don't do it all the time. So it's my ability to read the room makes that is the deciding factor. So that's what I'll say, that you need to be very observant, read the room, and then you also need to be in touch with the organizers throughout the event. There was another icebreaker that we had, or game. They were the ones who did it, like a Scrabble. So you scramble the words were scrambled and you unscramble it. There was a quiz they also did. So you can also say, look, between these two events, this is what I'm thinking. Or do you have something in mind? And they might say, oh, what do you have in mind? Or they will just, because you're a professional, they will also lean on your own expertise or trust your judgment. Now, to the second question about the rate card, as the name implies, it's a rate card, meaning your rates are there. So, what are your speaking rates? Is it MC? Is it panel moderation? Is it public speaking? Is it corporate events? Is it social events? Is it 1 hour event, 2 hour event, 10 hour event? If you're a wedding MC, you can say, oh, on my rate card, I'll give you reception only. I can give you reception and after party. I can give you, if it's maybe service of songs, reception, after party. You can come up with packages, or you might just have one flat rate. Or you can say, oh, if you book me for two events, like the traditional and the white wedding reception, I can do the after party for you for free. You can come up with that. So your rate card will have your rates. How you want to arrive at that rate is up to you. Do you have a flat rate? Do you have a rate that is based on hours, or do you want to run promos? And then identify the different things that you do. If you're only an MC and you can't moderate, you don't have any business putting a rate for panel moderation.
Okay, now, speaking of multiple events, I would love to ask a personal question before we round up now. Just you can just answer that in 1 minute. You have a wedding to host. I have a wedding to host, Alaga, and the wedding reception. Whereas I'm also the church member of the bride, I will sing during the church service. Do you think it is advisable, thinking of physical health, fatigue, is it advisable for an anchor to do that? Like that means you'll be engaged for the full day. Would you still be able to deliver accurately?
So that question only you can answer. One, what's your physical how fit
Ability.
are you? If you're extremely fit and maybe the day before you rest on time, first of all, with singing, you're not singing from beginning to the end. Maybe you're only taking the special number. So you sing your special number. The choir, if you're not leading praise and worship, someone
Madam
else will lead.
Olutolakwa said James Bond MCs. She said James Bond MC.
I saw a James Bond MC. So
That
you will sing, you will rest your voice. You're not the one preaching. You are not the one doing the exhortation. You are not the one praying for the couple. So if you can decide that, you know what, I want to bless this couple and all I'm doing is special number, or all I'm doing is praise and worship. Sometimes it's someone that does praise and that person does worship. So you already limit your exposure. Then when you do a lager, whether you're a joke or a duro, you will go with an assistant and you go with a secretary. So you two, you are not doing everything. As the major alaga, that is the alaga, not the assistant or the secretary, you can pick up, you can start a song and they'll back you up while you are dancing. and you conserve your voice, knowing that, okay, oh, let me not overdo because I still have the reception to do. So you're not the one that is bending down to pack money. You can decide that, you know what, I raised this song, you back me up. And if you are partners, you can say, you know what, I will start the first event. So far as the client is okay with it, the first part of the event, you finish it. Some people, they will ask their assistants to go and bring the bride in, and they are waiting. Some people, it's they will say, look, go and do all the praise and worship, opening prayer and everything. I'll come in later. So between you and your backup or your secretary, you can decide. Then after the event is over, you can ask the band to play before you start the reception. Ah, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start. We're going to keep you entertained. The band is on ground. They're going to do all the DJ is waiting. Why am I saying this? Because most likely the couple will need to go and change. So during that period that the couple has changed is going to change, you can be sitting down, catching your breath, having a bottle of water, having something to eat so that you are rested. And it's throughout the wedding reception, you're not going to be on the microphone. At some point, the band needs to play. At some point, if there's any performance, maybe they want dancers to come and dance, they will do their own. At some point, they are going to do maybe bring a comedian to come and crack jokes. Other times, people will be eating food. Even if you want to play games with the bride and the groom and their bridesmaids and groomsmen, what if the bride has gone to change? You will pause because that game requires the bride. So you can see that you are pacing yourself, that you're not going to be on your feet on the microphone throughout. And again, if you go with an assistant and the couple is okay with it, I've seen instances where, and that's how some of these comedians start. Their guy will go, you just give them, oh yeah, say something for 2 minutes or say something for 5 minutes. If you have the permission of the couple, some people will say, okay, I will start the event for you 2 hours. This is the package you are paying for. Someone else will complete it. That's a package that I've seen some MCs offer.
Wow.
So you need to pace yourself, and you also need to look at what is the most important thing that I need to do and what can be done by others. And that way you can do all three different things that day. But please, you will need to rest afterwards. And you can't do this back to back.
Yeah.
If not, your body will break down.
Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you so much. I really needed an answer to that because I was wondering how many events a single MC should do in a day. So thank you for clearing that now. We have another question, which might be the last one for tonight. The question is from Ruth. She's asking, have you struggled with the right pronunciation of a word that seems strange to your audience because the wrong pronunciation of the word is known to them?
So, have I struggled with the right pronunciation of a word that seemed strange? So, I thought it was kudos until MC Dolly P told us that it's kudos.
Yeah, you
So,
that.
I will say the kudos like that. You cannot come and beat me. I'm holding the microphone, and I know that I'm right. And I've watched a program where a British presenter said kudos, and it didn't sound strange to me because I knew that the correct pronunciation was kudos. So if I need to say a word and I know that's the wrong, is the right pronunciation, I'll say it because at that point I'm the authority, I'm the master of the ceremony. That's why I have the
Yeah.
microphone. But I've also struggled with words that have tripped me up. So I remember one event, I saw the word, and it's not like I couldn't pronounce it, but at that moment, institutionalize. I struggled with it. I was like, it's such an easy word, institutionalize. And I did it maybe 2 times. And then the audience helped me to say it. And I now said it, institutionalize. Another time, I think I mispronounced something and immediately corrected myself. So those things happen even to the best of the best. They happen. What I can say I will be doing um, to prevent things like that from happening as much as possible, if they give you someone's bio to read, don't wait till that day to read that bio or just say, ah, this is not hard. read the bio before the event, read it from beginning to the end, and read it out loud. Not just in your mind, being an issue. So that you know exactly what is going on. And also, everyone, and this is something that I've also started I read the bio out loud so that me and also reading it out the first time, you might not know where to put the emphasis on certain things. You might not know what goes with what. You might just read it flat. If you've read out loud, you will know where to emphasize, where your voice should dip, where it should go, where it should modulate. And by the time you are reading it on stage, you'll be more comfortable. No word will trip you. And even if it's a word that seems wrong, because you've practiced it the right way, you will go there and you will say it the right way. And you will not say, because people will think that I'm saying rubbish, let me not say it. Because you practiced the right thing and you will do the right thing. So I hope that answers that question.
Hi, it does. It does. Thank you so much for that. So practice the right thing. Even if you flop on the stage, you are the master of the ceremony. You can still continue with the show. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time. It's been a fantastic 1 hour. And I promise you this knowledge will stick for life. So we've come to the end of the show tonight. Media girls, do you love Madam Isabel as much as I love her? Your story is so inspiring. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's celebrate. Can we have activities in the chat room and in the comment section? Thank you. Thank you so much,
Can I
ma'am.
just say
So
one
this
thing?
time,
Can
okay,
I just
ma'am.
say one thing? Yes, someone said I should complete the details for the rate card. So your rate card should have your picture, your full name, your contact details, if possible, all your social media platforms, your email address, your phone number. Don't put your physical address, that's nobody's business, but phone number, email address, social media. Your rate card could have a one liner or it might just have your name, depending on that's a thing of style. Like I have a profile that is more comprehensive that I send first, and then after I send the rate card. But your name, your picture, your rates, whether it's in Naira, it's in USD, in pound sterling, whether your rate is exclusive or inclusive of VAT, whether your rate is inclusive of any logistics or transportation charges or any out of station allowances, or if you have a different rate for if you're doing it in Lagos versus if you're doing it in another state versus if you're doing it in another country, you have all those things there. So just see it as you're online and you reach out to an online vendor and they're like, oh, how much is this hair? They will tell you, okay, if it's 16 inches,
This is
this is how
our
much it is,
catalog.
24 inches. If it's Peruvian, it's like this. If it's Bolivian, it's like this. That is how your rate should be. So know how you want to group your rates and then make sure that after they see your rate card, they're able to contact you. That's why your contact details are there. And they're able to put a face to the name. That's why your picture is there.
Wow, thank you so much, ma'am. It's a good time to hand over back to my mentor, the real OG of the media girl, the media mama, Mrs. Oludolapo Adewale. Thank you so much for the platform once again. Good night, media girls. It's Ayokunu Akinsaya signing out. Super.
This birth thing, some of us are just catching up. Well done. Thank you so Let me start with a thank you right now. I was muted. I was trying to say the per thing. Thank you so much. All right, let me say thank you. The avalanche of thank you right now, starting with our guest tonight. Isabella, thank you so much for sharing from your wealth of knowledge. It's amazing. As you were dropping those nuggets, I was just like, this is a masterclass tonight. A lot of things packed in one. So I want to say thank you and kudos to you. When you mentioned kudos, I was just laughing. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, the energy that you've put into today's webinar. And I know the ladies are fired up and they're inspired to do much more in their emceeing journey. And thank you to our anchor for tonight. Yes, I told you, Media Girls, you're going to be anchoring this program every month. And Deborah Ayokunu, that was just fantastic. I can't wait for the next person for next month to do justice to next month's topic as well. And thank you to Priska, the community manager, for holding it down as much as possible. Thank you to I'll stop right now. I want Deborah to acknowledge people online on Zoom and on YouTube. Then you close and we end. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Just in case you want to join Media Girls Nigeria, our community, send a message to me right now. Send a message to 0803 838 0173. I'll take it again slowly. 0803 8380173. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mama Media Mom. Thank you, Madam Isabella Adediji, for your time. And big shout out to the online viewers, to our participants, to the media girls, to those who saw the link and decided to up on the ride. Thank you. You made it happen, because if you were not here, then there wouldn't be any show. So you're the real deal. This week, make sure you make use of all of the nuggets that Madam Isabella has shared. And we'll see you next month from the Media Girls. I'm Ayokunu Akinsayo once again. And it's good night. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you. And well done, Ayokuno. Well done. And all the
Thank you,
best
ma'am.
with your wedding
Yes, ma'am.
MC. Well done.
Thank you.